You didn't go out onto a footplate with a crew and go and have a run and see what they did. So everything went wrong at the beginning, didn't it? You were firing going downhill, you were not firing when you were going uphill. You learned the hard way.
The thing about Bury when I started in '56 was they had all the three forms of traction. They had steam engines, electric carriage sheds, third rail for Bury Manchester's next door to us, attached to us. And they also had DMUs, and they were first depot in Manchester area to have DMUs. So Bury had all this. Anyway, this particular day, one of my first few turns, this little Harry, he said, "Oh, I've got your firing turn." He said, "The DMU's failed on bake-up line." He said, "I'm getting you a spur driver, a lad called John, and you've got 6414, an Ivatt Class 2. You'll be working all stations to bake up and back a couple of times, through to bits, passing your turn this, in only a few turns." So we go up to Bury and we hook onto some stock. Well, could I make this bloody thing steam? I couldn't make it steam. And I were all right on pilots, I've been all right going round Oldham with Stanley tank. This Ivatt, it wouldn't bloody steam. Get to summer seat, sit down, have a blow up. Have a blow up means with no steam, we've got to wait till it gets some steam up before we can set off to Rammy. Get some steam up, so we've lost a bit of time. Get to Ramsbottom, no steam, have a blow up. Driver's not for saying anything, he's just saying, well, we'll have to have a blow up, you know. So we sat there and we stopped at every station to bake up, and 3 times in section, the section being in between stations. So we lost a lot of time. By the way, that were all uphill to bake up. Coming back downhill weren't so bad, but still struggling. But unknown to me, John had signed on duty a couple of hours before I had as a cleaner. He got relieved by another past fireman. So this driver come. First thing he said to me, "How are you going on?" And I thought, these two have been talking. He knows we've had it rough. You know, I thought, well, I'd better tell him. So I said, "Bloody awful. We've stopped at every station to have a blow up, get some steam. And 3 times in section." So he opened firebox door. Firebox was not very big. Full to bloody brim. So he said to me, "How's he been driving it?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't know how they drove them. He's just been driving it." He said, "Don't put anything in there." And we set off again for Somerset. He said, "Just shut that door." So I shut the door, and it had a full head of steam by then. And it kept making steam, doing all right. Approaching Somerset, put the feed on, put the injector on, put some water in the boiler. Did as I was told, put the injector on. Still didn't put any coal on. He had another loop, shut door. He said, "Don't touch it." Set off for Rammy, still got a full head of steam. Before he shut off for Rammy, put feed on, put feed on. Gets into Rammy, he opened the door, he said, "Right," he said, "just put 6 down at that bottom end." Not a long firebox, so I did it all, put 6 across bottom end. Set off then for Stubbins. No trouble, and I had no trouble all the way up to bake up. So I said, "What's happened here? Why is it like this now?" As before, when I've had to stop at every station and 3 times its section. "I'll tell you what's happened," he said, "between you've knackered this." I said, "Well, I don't know what you mean." He said, "Well, to me, with what I saw when we got on, you've been putting coal on coal. They call it black on black. And he's been winding it up, meaning the cut-off, instead of being like 75% full forward, is using maximum steam. But this is a valve gear, where it cuts the steam supply off to the cylinders at a percentage. 75% is full steam. And as you start coming back towards middle, up in 5 degrees, 45, 40, 35, you're economising on the steam and water, plus the fireman's back, because he has to keep putting bloody coal on. Like a car, if you drove in first gear, you just empty your tank, spend a fortune, and get nowhere. So they give you gears, don't they? And more gears you get, more economical is. And that's what we do with valve gear. He's been notching it up thinking, well, you're not making steam, I'll save a bit. So he's been nursing it, and you've been piling more coal on. I said, well, I'm putting coal on because it weren't bloody doing anything. He said, well, you don't put black on black. Well, I've been taught this, but just thought, well, that's the theory side of it. I'm doing it wrong. I must have to give it some more coal till I'd filled this bloody box up and couldn't get any more in. So once it got warm and he started giving it like 45%, where John must have been winding up to about 20, it was giving it more draft up the chimney.